morning, everyone, and happy Monday. I'm back from vacation and back to my normal grind. So, right now I'm just eating yogurt, emptying my dishwasher, figuring out what I'm making for dinner, because obviously I haven't been here in a week to do my meal plan. So I think I'm going to do some lasagna today. So I got to go to the store and get stuff to make meat sauce and my lasagna noodles and stuff. And my cheese. But, I just wanted to give a little recap on our trip. If you haven't watched all my previous videos, the reason I picked Florida is because our two daughters live in Florida. They both live in Tampa. We both live together, in fact, sharing an apartment. Tia's my youngest. She's 22. She's engaged to be married. Her fiance lives there as well. And then my older daughter, Caitlin, is 23. And her boyfriend lives with them as well. So we have 4 adults sharing a little apartment down in Tampa. So that's why my husband and I chose to go to Tampa for a week, just so we can visit our kids. Now we moved our kids to college periodically over the years. My oldest daughter, Caitlin, we live in Pennsylvania. My oldest daughter, Caitlin, went to college just outside of Orlando, Florida, in Winter Park. So of course she was 17 when we first moved her to college, just about ready to turn 18. So it was difficult moving her 1,000 miles from us, but we got to fly back and forth to Florida to see her. And then she did a 4-year degree in 2 years. So at the end of 2 years, she then drove from Orlando to LA. That was difficult because Orlando is a 2-hour nonstop flight for us from Pennsylvania. LA is 6 hours away, not nonstop. Much farther to go, obviously 3,000 miles and 1,000. So it was kind of devastating for my husband and I when she decided to move to LA. She lasted 6 months out there, ran out of money, couldn't get a job in her field, couldn't get any job. She tried anything. She was 19 or 20, I guess, wasn't even 21, with a bachelor's degree in film making, and she was competing with people twice her age for a job. She had nothing on her resume as far as experience. All she had was her schooling. So again, she lasted 6 months, blew through all her savings and blew through most of my savings, had to come home. So we've had her home here ever since she was 20, and now she's, like I said, 23. My youngest went to college in Kutztown, Pennsylvania, which is only 70 miles from where we're living. And she was in band, marching band and stuff. So we, for her 4 years of college, we went up every weekend in the fall for football games, and she would come home periodically. I mean, she lived up there, obviously, because 70 miles is a little far to commute. I'm going to swallow this and also. So we got to see her regularly. But then, last year, they both accepted jobs in Tampa, which I'm happy for them, because where we live here in York, they'd have no future here. Tia has a bachelor's degree in psychology, and like I said, Caitlin has a bachelor's degree in film. Well, obviously there's nothing here for a filmmaker. Caitlin wants to work for Universal Studios in Florida. So she went to Tampa. She's currently working for American Airlines, which is who I used to work for. So she was able to get a transfer down there. So she has income coming in, and she's going to plan on making her move to Orlando within the next 2 years. Tia accepted a job at the University of South Florida, but she's not really working in her field. She has a supervisor position, which can't do a whole lot with a psychology degree unless you have a master's. So she has a supervisor position in the dining hall for the college. Her fiance has the same position as she does. So that's how they ended up in Florida. They love it there. And like I said, there's no hope for this town that we live in. This town is really going downhill. My husband and I were both born and raised here. There used to be a lot of industry and a lot of jobs. Other than a Harley-Davidson plant, there's nothing of significant size here. York International, who makes HVAC systems, used to be huge, but even they're starting to go overseas with all their manufacturing. So I'm glad they're out of here. But that makes for one lonely set of parents. And We moved Tia to Florida in July. My husband and I drove the moving truck. Her and her fiance drove his car, and we towed her car down behind the moving truck. And over the course of like 3 days, we got them moved into a temporary housing down there, put all their stuff in storage, and my husband and I flew back. A month later, Caitlin gets her job. Mike didn't have any more vacation time, so by myself, I had to drive a moving truck the whole way to Florida while she drove her car, and then I had to fly back. Within, like I said, within a month. One moved in July, one moved in August. And when I left them down there both times, it was not that difficult. I mean, yeah, it's always difficult saying goodbye to your kids, but we were exhausted. Our bodies were physically exhausted. You know, we're pushing 50, and just the whole driving of a moving truck 1,000 miles just racks your body, because obviously they're not comfortable to drive. We were physically exhausted and just so ready to just get back in a nice, comfortable bed, and it was whirlwind trips. It was like, I think the exhaustion overtook the emotion. This trip was more difficult for me, because now this trip was, yeah, we were still tired from all the driving, but we were in a comfortable vehicle. We didn't have to rush. We had a full 10 days from Friday through Sunday that we had to just be on vacation, and we did fun stuff. There was no moving and no exhaustion. So leaving them this trip is more difficult. I mean, they're going to be flying back here in 3 months. 3 of the 4 of them will, for Tia and Matt's wedding. Wedding's in July, and they're getting married up here. So I'll see them again in 3 months. But the fact that I think it was just, you know, all 6 of us together, plus the dog, just running around, doing fun stuff, and it was like, oh, we're all back together again, and then we had to leave. So I'm mentally and emotionally struggling with this trip a little more. I would love to live in Florida, but if you watch my previous videos, you'll see that it's just difficult for my husband to leave his job and start all over again. I mean, he had to start over 10 years ago when his company that he was working for shut down and moved all their production to Mexico. They had to start over with no seniority, no vacation, and it's like, okay, we're pushing 50. Do we really want to do this again? We have no house at the moment. We're living in an apartment. We really need to figure out what we're doing with our lives. Like, we don't feel like this is home for us, but yet this is our home. This is the only home we've ever known, other than the 2 years we spent in Harrisburg, which is still only 25 miles north of here. It's not like it was a huge distance. So we are struggling. It's like we feel like we're homeless and unsettled, and I don't know how to fix it if we just live our lives like this is our normal. There is no American dream anymore. You see that every day when you watch the news. So we need to give up probably on the American dream and just survive. I mean, that's all I think a lot of people are doing nowadays, just surviving, you know, week to week. And you can let it get you down. I try not to. I try to stay really positive, because my husband does have a tendency to get down and stay down. So I have to remain kind of positive for him. So I throw myself into cooking. My 2 passions in life are travel and cooking. I've left the travel industry now, probably for good. Never say never, that I wouldn't go back. But I am enjoying being a stay-at-home wife now, and not living the grind, the day-to-day, just get up, go to work, come home, hurry up and make dinner so you can go to bed and start all over again. I don't miss that. So I'm throwing myself really into the cooking now, which, like I said, that is my other passion. I love to cook homemade meals. So I think that's why today, first day back from vacation when most people were exhausted and just want to do something quick, I'm going to make homemade meat sauce and make a homemade lasagna. So I'm going to finish emptying my dishwasher and reload it with these couple dishes in the sink, and then I'm off to the store to get the couple ingredients that I need, and we're going to make lasagna later. That just sounds really good right now. So I'll get back to you. Alright, I ran up to the grocery store and got the couple items I needed to finish my dinner, which is, well, first I went to the liquor store first and got a bottle of my favorite sangria, so we can have that with our lasagna tonight. And I needed, I was out of my dry red cooking wine that I keep in the refrigerator to put in my sauce, so I got a bottle of that. Got a pound of Italian sausage. I mixed Italian and ground beef, which you'll see in my recipe, but I have the ground beef out, which I had in my freezer. So just picked up the Italian. I had a coupon for a free bagel from the bakery at the grocery store, so I'll have that for breakfast tomorrow morning, the sesame bagel. My husband's favorite flavor of yogurt is lemon meringue. So I went to the grocery store yesterday to get a couple things that I needed to get us through the week. So I do a big grocery trip, stuff for his lunch, and they had no lemon meringue. I go up to the same store this morning. They have one, so I got it. And, what is it with that flavor? Everybody must love it. Back to my lasagna. I got some sliced mozzarella, 2 pounds of whole milk ricotta. Obviously this isn't for lasagna, but it's my favorite flavor. I need a fabric softener, some Parmesan cheese for the lasagna, a box of lasagna noodles, and 3 cans of tomato puree. So now I'm going to get my sauce started, and I'll show you how I make my meat sauce for my lasagna. Okay, I'm back, and I'm getting ready to make my basic meat sauce that I make for my lasagna. I also use it for spaghetti sauce. I do have a separate video up specifically for my spaghetti sauce that I make that has a lot more herbs and flavors to it than what this is going to have. However, you can use this over any kind of pasta or spaghetti, baked ziti, whatever. So again, I'm just going to start my basic meat sauce recipe for my lasagna, and I'll show you how I do that. So I have a pan on the stove that I just turned on to medium heat. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to the pan. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw in some onions. Now, onions are a funny thing. I'm not an onion eater, and I can't do this with one hand. Hold on, let me scrape this and I'll be right back. I can talk while I do this. Onions are a funny thing. I'm not a fan of onions. I can't stand raw onions. A lot of people like an onion that has a bigger chop than this. I don't. I chop these so fine that they almost kind of melt into the sauce and the meat after they've cooked for a while, just because I don't like to bite into an onion. But you give me a nice onion ring with some good dipping sauce, I'm all over it, and I probably won't share it with you. So again, onions, do what you want for the onions. Again, I'm using just a tiny bit of onion in this recipe, enough to give it flavor, but I don't want to be able to bite an onion. So I'm just going to let these cook for a few minutes or until they're translucent. So my onions have been cooking for about 3 minutes, I would say, and they're becoming pretty translucent. So now I'm going to add my meat. So normally I would use a pound of Italian sausage and a pound of ground beef. This portion of ground beef I buy at Costco. It is organic ground beef, and the packs are 1.34 pounds. So I think I'm just going to break a hunk of this off, just so I only have 2 pounds of meat, and I'll just make that beef for my pup. He likes a little bit of burger every once in a while, so I'll fry that up separately for him. So into the pan, I'm going to put my ground beef and my Italian sausage, and then I'm just going to break that up with a spoon and just cook that until it's completely cooked the whole way through. Okay, so my meat is fully cooked, so now I'm going to put you guys up here on the shelf. Hopefully you can still see what's going on while I finish the rest of my sauce. So now I'm going to add about a cup of the red wine. If you don't have red wine, you don't want to use the red wine, it's not a necessity. I just like a little bit of another level of flavor that it gives to the sauce. Just make sure it's dry and it's not make sure it's dry and not overly sweet, only because your basil is sweet, your Italian sausage is a sweet Italian. You don't want to have candy sauce. So you want something a little dry, and just enough to add a little, again, just another level of flavor to your sauce. Now I'm going to add 3 cans of the tomato puree. Whenever you buy tomato puree at the store, depending on the brand you use, some are thinner or thicker than others. So you can adjust this accordingly. If you want to be able to spoon your sauce in your lasagna. You don't want something that's real thick and heavy. So if you find that this is still too thick, feel free to add a little bit of water to it. I'm going to stir this up and just check to see if I need to add any water. So And because this is, did I make a mess? Of course I did. Ay. I'm going to add a little bit of water, just because I am going to let this sit and cook for the rest of the afternoon, probably a good 3 hours. So I'm going to add a little bit of water to this, because some of that will evaporate out. Hold on 1 second here. Just a hair more. Okay. Perfect. Now, like I said, I am going to let this cook for about 3 hours. Before I walk away from it, though, I am going to season it with some salt and pepper and some basil. You can use fresh basil if you have it. I just don't have a lot of fresh herbs that I keep on hand, simply because we are in an apartment and I have no place to grow it around here. I'm limited on windowsill space. So until we get another house of our own, which I'm hoping is a house out in the country somewhere so I can have a garden, I'm just going to use the dried stuff. Alright, so I know this isn't going to be warm, but I'm going to taste it anyway. So get all this mixed up, and I will show this to you. So here's what it looks like. I'm still combining my basil and my salt and pepper, and with my puree. Alright, let's get a little taste of this. I think that's pretty good, but I am going to taste it again when it's hot, see if it needs any more salt or basil. It may till then. So again, I'm going to let this sit for a good 3 hours, just on low, to let it simmer and cook. Okay guys, I'm ready to start putting my lasagna together. I apologize for the noise in the background, because I am still washing and drying laundry from the trip. And of course my washer is going to go into spin cycle right as I'm starting. So anyway, I have my sauce. It's been cooking for several hours. It is completely done. I'm going to turn it off. I already did taste it. I did have to add a little more salt, but it's good to go now. So my next step is I'm going to start mixing up my ricotta layer. So in a bowl, I'm going to put 2 pounds of whole milk ricotta cheese. And to that, I'm going to crack an egg. And I'm going to add about a half a cup of the Parmesan cheese. I'm going to season it with a little salt and pepper. Not a whole lot of salt, as Parmesan cheese is salty. You can have the salt in your sauce, but not a ton of salt. So you're just going to want to mix this around until it's all combined. I apologize, I feel like my arm is in front of the bowl. Okay, that looks good. Now we're going to start building the lasagna. I have already cooked my lasagna noodles. I cooked them till they were al dente, so not completely done, because they're going to continue to cook in the oven. So now, we're going to start layering. The first thing to one is I'm using a disposable pan. You can use your own casserole dish. I like disposable pans for lasagna because it is kind of messy and I can just pitch it when it's done. So I have put some olive oil all around this. You could spray it with cooking spray. Just a light layer of something to keep your lasagna noodles from sticking. So the first thing I'm going to do is put a light layer of sauce in the bottom of the pan. Spread that around evenly, and then we're going to add our lasagna noodles. I am going to overlap them just a little. There's one that's broken. So in this particular pan, which is an aluminum foil lasagna pan, I'm getting 4 noodles across the bottom. hands. This is a messy job. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spread around a quarter of this ricotta mixture onto the noodles, just in a nice light layer. This is a painful process, I know. Trying to get everything to spread without your noodles sliding around. I didn't say lasagna was easy to make. I just said it was yummy. Alright. A little more in this corner. I feel like I'm boring the heck out of you guys right now. I'm not going to keep the camera on for all these layers, but I'm going to show you one. Okay, let me wipe my hands. I'm going to pick up the camera. I really need to have somebody film this for me. It'd be so much easier. Okay, so I put the sauce on the bottom, layered 4 noodles, and added the ricotta cheese. Now I'm going to add a little more sauce, just about a cup or so, not a lot at this point. And then I'm going to tear up some of this. Let me see if I can set the camera like this. If that'll work. There. How's that? Let me turn it this way. No, maybe this way. Hey, that might work. Alright, so I'm going to tear up some of this fresh mozzarella cheese and just randomly throw that around the inside of the pan. And then on top of that, I'm going to sprinkle some Parmesan. And I'm going to do several more layers like that, ending up with a mozzarella Parmesan layer. So I'm going to turn you off and finish building this so you're not bored out of your mind. And I'll show you what it's like when I get to the top layer. And because no video is ever complete without an appearance from my fur baby, lasagna's cooking and we're just sitting on our deck. And he's scratching, digging in his ear. Hey, what are you doing? Look here. Look at the camera. Ah, there's my boy. Are you special? Are you on Neighborhood Watch? Are you? You're a turkey. Okay, lasagna is out of the oven and sitting and resting. My husband just texted that he's on his way home. So when he gets home, it'll be ready to cut. Made some salads, and we're going to have some sangria with dinner. So, that's my yummy lasagna dinner. Give it a try. I'll get back to you. Well, I guess that's it for the night. I'm going to enjoy my mug of mint chocolate chip ice cream and probably upload this video while I watch more YouTube videos. And go to bed. It's 20 of 10, so soon time to get a shower and head to bed. See you later. Bye.